Yes, good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Those of you who have been with us or been with this channel since the beginning, and those of you that have been with this channel here and there's about, and those of you who have just subscribed to this channel, we thank the Most High for you. Yes, you're walking with Mr. Clay. I am Mr. Clay, and we thank God for those of you who have just subscribed. Yes, and those of you who are contemplating subscription, like, share, and subscribe. Yes, controversial as we may be, because some of these things you have not heard, because many things you have not heard in context, only in bits and pieces. But the fact is, we go by the context of the chapter. Yes. Now, Isaiah chapter 32 and verse 1. But before we go there, let's pray the prayer of Abraham. Yes, deliver me from the hands of evil spirits who have swayed the thoughts of men's hearts, and let them not lead me astray from thee, my God. Establish thou me and my seed, that we go not astray henceforth and forever. Jubilees chapter 12 and verse 20 is where it may be found. Yes, Isaiah chapter 32. Behold, a king shall reign in righteousness, and princes shall rule in judgment. And a man shall be as a hiding place from the wind, and a covert from the tempest, as rivers of water in a dry place, as the shadow of a great rock in a weary land. And the eyes of them that shall see shall not be dim, and the ears of them that shall hear shall hearken. He's talking, sounds like as though he's saying a king that shall reign, and those who reign with him, or his cabinet members, or whoever you want to call it, are going to go and walk according to the law. Now, pay attention. And the heart also of the rash shall understand knowledge, and the tongue of the stammerers shall be ready to speak plainly. The vile person shall no more be called liberal, nor the curl said to be bountiful, the cruel said to be bountiful. For the vile person will speak villainy, and his heart will work iniquity, to practice hypocrisy, and to utter error against the I am, to make empty the souls of the hungry, and he will cause the drink of the thirsty to fail. Who shall do this? The vile person. And the instruments of the cruel and evil, he devises wicked devices to destroy the poor with lying words, even when the needy speaketh right. But the liberal devises liberal things, by liberal things shall he stand. Now, how shall a king reign in righteousness? But yet, here we go again. A king is going to reign in righteousness. Okay? He talks about that a man shall be as in hiding place. Okay, these things supposed to be in cohesion. But yet he goes on and says the rash shall understand knowledge, and the tongue stammering. But then he says the vile person shall be no more called liberal, nor the cruel person to be bountiful. For the vile person shall speak villainy. But this is all with this king. And some of you say, oh, that's Jesus. Maybe that is your Jesus, because this king doesn't sound right here. There's something not right about this milk. Let's continue. He says, rise up, ye women that are at ease, hear my voice, ye careless daughters, and give ear unto my speech. Now it changes. In other words, it sounds like it should be a vile king, because you had Amos, and then you had his son, and all the, I should say, Ahaz and his sons. In the year Uzziah died, King Uzziah. Then you had King Ahaz that was Uzziah's son. Maybe it's one of the kings that shall reign in their, should I say, reign in their line of succession. Because at one point, the kings of Israel and Judah had ceased, and there were other kings. Even to this day, there is no king that sitteth on the seat of David, period. You say Jesus, where is he? You say Yahusha, where is he? Oh, he's waiting to come back. And you're a demigod, and the god that's after the Egyptian and Greek philosophies he had a son, a demigod by a woman. Now this is Egyptian philosophy, Greek philosophy. In other words, it's a myth. Now these things does not stand up here. A king shall reign in righteousness, and princes shall rule in judgment. In other words, there's a righteous kingdom, he says, coming. And everyone is going to be walking right. And the vile person shall be no more called liberal, and the cruel person said to be bountiful. That's not going to happen. In other words, they're not going to be, for the vile person will speak villainly, and his heart will work iniquity, to practice hypocrisy. In verse, should I say 6, hypocrisy, and to utter error against the I am, to make empty the soul. Now this was the thing that had brought the wrath of the I am, even from the previous chapter, to the children of Judah. Yes, and those who were remnant from the other tribes of Israel that dwelt in the land of Judah. Yes. Now, he's saying that this vile person, we know this to be true because the last chapter told us about this. Now here Isaiah chapter 32 changes up and then goes back into the regular, should I say, order of things as far as the wickedness of the children of Judah. And then he switches. Okay, what are you saying, Isaiah? He says, rise up, ye women that are at ease. Hear my voice, ye careless daughters. Give ear unto my speech. Now he's addressing the women. Even to this day, this would be some advice really good to say to the women. Many days and years ye shall be troubled, and careless women. Yes, there are many careless women, deceitful. I mean, all manner of evil women. You have women that will deceive you online saying they have a bag for you to get, and they're deceiving you with crypto and all kind of things. Yes, it seems like more women are into this deception. This is how they don't make their money, through hard work. Some do, very few. And many of them either work at ease or suing a man or something like that for children. It's very wicked, and we don't see for the end. Now, many days and years shall ye be troubled. He's talking to the women, ye careless women. For the vintage shall fail, the gathering shall not come. You know, all your offers and all these things that you have done, and products and all these, you made yourself gods. You sacrificed to the Queen of Heaven. Now these things have happened during this time. He's talking about that time also. But we can compare them to this time also. These things are happening. We can compare. He says, now, make you bear. You have no children. Gird sackcloth. He said, make you bear. Get naked. That's what he's saying, really. And gird sackcloth upon your loins. He said, get into an old raggedy dress. Get into something that doesn't even appeal to nobody. What he's saying, you women that have caused these things, baby mamas who have played the whore with the whoremonger and contracted children out of wedlock. And now you have bastards walking the earth that are taught by you to be vile and liberal. Yes, in order to justify your sins. No, this is not good. This is not good. Now, they shall lament for the teats, for the pleasant fields, for the fruitful vine. In other words, there's coming famine, there's coming lack to this place. Because the palaces shall be forsaken, and the multitude of the city shall be left. In other words, you have no more tricks. Your tricks shall be gone. If we would sublimate it to this time. He's not talking about now. This is not a prophecy for now. This has already been done, but yet we're still left in the same dilemma. The forts and towers shall be for dens forever, and joy and wild asses a pasture of flocks. Until the Spirit be poured upon us from on high, and the wilderness be a fruitful field, be counted for us. Until the Most High bless the land, is what he's saying. Yes. Now in verse 16. Then judgment shall dwell in the wilderness, and righteousness remain in the fruitful field. And the work of righteousness shall be peace, and the effect of righteousness quietness and assurances forever. And my people shall dwell in a peaceable habitation, in sure dwellings, and in quiet resting place. And when it shall hail coming down from the forest, the city shall be low in a low place. Blessed are ye that sow beside all waters, and send forth hither the feet of ox and the ass. This time has come. There was a time of peace during the Persian reign. Should I say the Medo-Persian reign? There was a time of peace when the king of Persia allowed the children of Jacob, even Judah, and those stragglers from other nations of Israel, or other peoples of Israel, to go back to their lands and allow them to subdue their enemies. And they had a time of peace before we got to the time of the Maccabees and the Grecians. Yes, there was a time of peace. There was a time of prosperity. Yes, there was a time. But then that time was cut short at one time. Yes. And this is what he's talking about here. But where did he come from with saying a king shall reign, when the Most High showed that there's no king gonna be on your throne? Where's your king? The Most High, the one, is the king. That seems to me to be an insertion. Seems to me to be an insertion. That, behold, a king shall reign in righteousness. Who is he talking about? Can you tell me? It's a Bible study dilemma for you. Who is this king? And we're not even going to the New Testament, because we know a lot of it was borrowed, and majority of it borrowed and sublimated into that book. And it sounds real. It's pretty close to what it would be is real, but yet it is false. And nothing but letters, that's all. Where are they going to find all these letters at? They've scoured the land. They got letters to Phoebe and letters to all these different people. Where are you going to, you scour the land for letters. Who gave you a letter? Who wrote the letter? This is crazy. Now we can understand the prophets. That is accountable. We can account for that. The prophets. The Chronicles of Kings. Yes. The writings of kings, the kings of Persia, the kings of Israel. We can account for those. The writings of the prophet by the scribes that follow the prophet and whatever he said, or the prophet that wrote down whatever was given him to say. Yes, we can account for those. But what about this here? What king have he? And then we switch in verse 5. Or should I say, he switched in verse 6. Which makes no sense. Not to me, at least. But the fact is that, where is this king? At the end of, there was a king during a Babylonish king, or should I say, the king of Assyria, inserted a king inside of Judah. A king was there. A vile king took over that was of the children of Israel, I believe Jeroboam. And eventually there were other kings that took over that. Kings of Assyria took over that kingdom. So where are they? Even to this day. In heaven, you waiting for that sweet by and by where your king shall rule? You're in the fairy tale land of nothingness? You talk about these miraculous healings and all these things so you can have your magician of a preacher telling you different things? No, don't be that way. Don't be that way. But the fact is, the Most High have given us plain, concise things to tell us. There are physicians, yes. men bones, but he also says the herbs are for our healing. He tells us what diets to adhere to that will contribute to our well-being. But the fact is, we have gone the way of the heathen who says, well, this is good. We go by taste in our food rather than nutritional value. And nutrition is just about nil and void in certain countries because of chemicals and corporations taking advantage. You had the grasshopper people just do what they want to do until it's all used up, and now they sell it back to you in bottled water, and they sell it back to you in compressed air that you can receive oxygen, and trying to spray the air to keep the sun down, the ozone layer and all that stuff. It's just a mess. After a while, there will be no way that they can keep these things up. Where you got, instead of reconstituted sewage, which is your treatment plants and your water plants, there is water under the ground that is clean. It's a little deeper than the regular wells. It's clean, it's pure, it's water. You can drink it without filtration. Yes, you have to dig a little deeper than regular water, and it's all over the land. Yet they want water from the people that have not misused their resources. And yet they go over there and reuse Africa is what I'm talking about. Getting water and everything else. And then polluting as they go. But the politicians think that think that their resources will last forever. Yes, the resources will last forever, but the fact is, once it's polluted, it is no more good. It's damaged. You have uranium that have been dumped. They don't care. These are grasshoppers. All they care about is that almighty dollar. And that is all. How the dollar's to be spent in oil, gold, and silver, but yet the quality of food. See, this is what God talks about in many instances. When he talks about food. The world needs food. Wholesome, nutritious food. This is the way God made the earth, to yield that food, nutritious and whole. And man benefits from the earth that way. Gold and silver is nothing. Once you run out of that, once it's no more good and there's nothing you can spend it on, all you have left is your farm and your food. Your cobalt, all these other things, no good. This is why he says they shall beat their weapons and armaments into plowshares and their spears into pruning hooks, to be roundabout. Because people need food. And this is because men want power. They want to take charge of another man. They want to dominate a woman that's not their wife. A wife wants to trick a man that is not her husband. All these things, and yet he talks about woe to the daughters of Judah and the women of the land, careless women, and even this Assyria, Babylon, and Persia. The reason they're given to overtake the world is given in their own perspective, but that their perspective is given by spirits that have been dispatched by the Most High to make them think that their way is right and holy. But there's only one way that is right and holy, and that is not Jesus. That is the law, commandments, ordinances, and statutes of the Most High. And if we abide by those things, we will have peace.